Hi there, this is an advanced level trap in the Sicilian Taimanov and it's called the Queen's Reversal of Fortunes. And after e4, c5, knight f3, e6, d4, c takes on d4, knight takes on d4 and knight c6. This is the Taimanov variation. White continues knight c3, black queen c7, and in this position bishop e3 and bishop e2 are the most common moves. We're having a look at the bishop e2 line. Black continues a6, white castles, and after knight f6, again bishop e3 would be the most popular move, and this has been played by Kasparov, Anand and Svidler, as well as thousands of others. But also the move king h1 is perfectly playable, and it puts the king into safety and off the a7 g1 diagonal. Now the exchange of minor pieces on d4 allows black to develop with tempo. So knight takes on d4, queen takes on d4, and bishop c5, hitting the white queen. In this position, Kasparov, Anand, Svidler and Ivanchuk have all retreated the queen back to d3. And it doesn't really hem in the bishop on e2, as that bishop is going to be redirected to f3 after the pawn on f2 has moved up to f4. Well, black will play b5, intending bishop b7, and in some variations to push the pawn up from b5 to b4. So white will continue f4, and after bishop b7 and bishop f3, now black has an interesting aggressive line. The move h5. First of all, it takes control of the g4 square for the knight, as well as perhaps pushing on from h5 to h4. So in this position, bishop e3 is common. E5 would be the most common move here, but also playable, as played by Nigel Short, is the move bishop to d2. And after this move, black can continue with rook c8, knight g4, or the move I particularly like is h4, vacating the h5 square for the knight. So when white continues e5 and now the knight hops in to h5, the threat is knight to g3 check, which will force the capture h takes on g3, and then black will checkmate with h takes on g3, checkmate, next move. So white has to respond. Ideally the best move for white is actually knight back to e2, but more natural is bishop e3, which gives black a great game. After bishop e3, black will continue knight g3 check, and if white doesn't want to lose the exchange immediately, he has to take now. So h takes on g3, h takes on g3 check, and king to g1. Now in this position, black has a very nice idea of bringing the queen back to d8, rerouting her to h4, and then a mate on h2. Possibly the rook might give itself up first on h1 in order to facilitate that mate. But if queen d8 was played immediately, it's white who's going to have the upper hand, because white has rook f to d1 and white will survive with advantage. So before queen d8, black plays queen b6, a little finesse, because the threat now is bishop takes on e3. So how does white respond? Well, if white responds with rook a e1, then now the queen can drop back to d8, because after bishop takes on c5, rook h1, giving up the rook to allow the queen to get to the h file with tempo, queen h4 check, king g1, and queen h2 is mate. So backing up, rook a e1 is no good for white, so rook f e1 is preferred, and here black will do well after bishop takes on f3, because after, well, let's have a look now. Bishop takes c5, probably the best try. Bishop takes c5, now queen takes c5 check, queen e3, queen takes e3, rook takes c3, and the bishop drops back to b7 with only a minor advantage now for black. So backing off again. After bishop takes on f3, we said now that the best move for white is bishop takes on c5. If the white tries g takes on f3, now the queen drops back to d8, And again, white can just about survive with the move knight to e4, because if bishop takes on c5, black is winning. After rook h1, check, king takes h1, queen h4, check, king g1, queen h2, check, king f1, g2 is check, forcing the king onto the second rank, king e2, and now g1 queens with a discovered check, and that's going to pick up the bishop on c5. So after king d1, queen takes c5 with a winning advantage for black. So this has been the Queen's Reversal of Fortunes in the Sicilian Taimanov. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.